Hello and welcome back to another episode. You join me very early on a Friday morning. It's chuffing freezing outside. Frankly, it's quite cold inside. And I've had quite a busy work week. I haven't really had time to film a video this week, but I wanted to fit in an episode today to talk to you about something I'm really quite excited about. You see, ever since day one, I have loved my Nintendo Switch. And for me, day one was a little bit later than other people's day one. I got this console second hand about a year and a bit, I think, in. And I got it from Cash Converters for a very reasonable price. I traded in my 3DS and some games and got this in return. And this console solved some of my then crippling portable gaming problems. One of them being that this console is much easier for me to hold with my grown-up hands than the 3DS was, and I talked about that in a previous video. However, despite love at first sight, there's always been an aspect of my Nintendo Switch that slightly bothered me, slightly niggled me, and until very recently, I just thought this was a byproduct of the central aspect of this machine, and that is that it's a modular piece of hardware. It comes apart. It's kind of hard to capture on camera, but ever since I first held this console, there's been quite a lot of movement. Let's try and get the camera to focus there. Movement between the Switch and the Joy-Cons. It's I don't know, maybe 3 to 5 millimeters of movement there. And it's on both Joy-Cons there, and the whole thing just seems to just be a bit loose. And this, when you're holding it vertically, the whole thing has the sensation of rocking back and forward in your hands ever so slightly. And it just has that. It has the overall effect of feeling very wobbly, very wibbly in your hands. And as I say, until recently, I just thought that's just because it comes apart. It's like expecting a transformer to be a solid car, when actually, of course, it's going to have a bit of squash in it because it transformed into a robot. And that was just the way my life was with my Switch, until I was talking to someone about the Switch, and I mentioned this feature. I mentioned that, well, the catches on the back of the Joy-Cons, they could be a bit more effective, couldn't they? After all, my Joy-Cons just, come off without having to press the release catch at all. And they were concerned. They went, no, Mark, that's not how it's meant to be. The Joy-Con is not supposed to be able to just come off like that. And they immediately recommended that I look to get a new pair of Joy-Cons. And that is what I've done. A couple of days ago, I came across a very reasonably priced set of pink and green Joy-Cons for my Switch. And I love this colour scheme. I think it's garish, I think it's gloriously Splatoon, and if I was going to get new Joy-Cons, they weren't going to be grey. And these guys fit beautifully. There's no wibble in them at all. Can't move them whatsoever. It's just, again, just try and get the camera to focus there. I can't remotely get these guys to move on the machine. It feels like one solid tablet in my hands, and it kind of feels like I've got a new Switch, a new machine. It feels probably actually how the Switch is always meant to feel, but this has never been my experience of the Nintendo Switch so far. So as much as I love my Switch, and I've always loved my Switch, I now truly adore it, or rather I now have a new appreciation for how much I love this machine, because actually when it's working properly, it feels like one solid thing. Yet, despite a newfound solidness, if that's a word, this console is still very much a modular machine, and when using the catch release system properly, the Joy-Cons come off very easily, like so, and I can play in docked mode. I'm very happy with these new Joy-Cons, and I've also noticed actually a better signal. The signal between the console and the grey Joy-Cons would break down quite a lot, especially the left-hand Joy-Con. Very annoying when you're playing an intense moment on Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. Whereas these two so far are yet to lose signal, lose their connection with the machine when docked. I'm very happy indeed. So there you have it, a little video from me in a rather busy week, just to say that if you also bought your Nintendo Switch pre-loved, and if the previous owner didn't necessarily look after the Joy-Cons as well as they might have done, and there's a slight wobble in your system, that you may also benefit from getting a new set of Joy-Cons. It will change your life. Oh. As ever guys, until next time, do take care. Bye bye.